All right. Hello, everybody, and thanks for coming today, making time in your day on a Friday to come to the class. It's great to see so many people on. Um, I'm Joanne Swensrud. I've met a lot of you before, so this is great. My company, Know It Sooner Computer Training. You see all my contact information here. We do these free Fridays we started them last year in October for Small Business Week, and we had so much interest in it that we rolled over into November. So this year I just did it for October and November, and every week is just a different topic. And you're welcome to invite people. If afterwards you go back and you say, "Wow, you should have come to that class. It was so good at lunch." It'll be up on YouTube later, forever. I don't know about forever, but for a long time, not just for a week or something like that. Please, if you like the class, leave me a review on one of those platforms. That really helps me out a lot. Okay. And so the agenda today, already did an introduction to myself. If you guys want, you can put maybe where you're from. I think most people are from Edmonton. I think we've got a Red Deer person and a Meadow Lake person. We've got a Fort Saskatchewan person coming on here right away. I'm dying to know who Free Fridays is. If you want to change your name or let me know in the chat. So welcome again. There's my YouTube channel and the upcoming courses. I did add a couple of courses since you probably have, I just did it this week. So there's an Excel level one starting in January. Now it's not free. These little free ones are teasers to go into these other classes. Now, these other classes that you see here, they are slower. We give you a chance to try these things on your own. And it looks like I missed changing my logo, my graphic there because it stopped fighting with Microsoft Word. I thought that people might be interested in that session after today because there's a lot of times where we trying to space things over or working with pictures and things like that, and they just don't work very good. So uh, anyway, that one I just dreamed up, and then we've got a more advanced Excel class, which kind of piggybacks onto last week's class, the one on working with long lists and that kind of thing. So those are some of the things that I've got set up. Next week is about Outlook, and there's so many things in Outlook that you might not have realized that it's there. If you don't use Outlook, then and you don't, when I say Outlook, it's Outlook program to use your desktop. Or sorry, Outlook, the Outlook program to use your email. So I use Gmail. I don't use Outlook.com or whatever. That's okay. If you use Outlook, you will want to come to this class because it's something like today where there's going to be some topics and some features and buttons that you're like, when did they add that? And I'd be like, 100 years ago. So yeah. Okay, so that's a little bit about that. And we're going to get started with talking about Autotext. So how many of you have heard of Autotext and what do you think it's for? Just put it in the chat there, please. Put it in the chat. What do you think Autotext is for? We've heard of autocorrect, probably, and this is kind of like that. Autocorrect is like if you type like me and you make mistakes and you might go TEH instead of THE, it corrects it. Sometimes on your phone you do that and it's bad. It puts something weird in. Okay, but it's so yeah, I'm like filling in things like Wednesday. Yeah, so if I go WED, I think I have to do 4 letters. Okay, so that's key. 4 letters. Okay. Oops. And I'm going to press, I think I messed that up. WED enter. There we go. So that is an auto text. Some of those are built in. What we're going to do today is create some on our own. Okay, so some are autocorrects and some are auto texts. All right. So good, Robin, you've used it on your phone. It's the same kind of idea. Now let me show off a little bit first and get you a little bit interested in this. This is how I use auto text, okay? I could use it just for for plain text, kind of like I did with Wednesday just a minute ago. Or I could do it with something like this. Oh, I'm creating a document and I would like my logo to to just come up. Just, hey, logo, right now I want you. I don't want to go off and go insert picture or go to another document and find it and copy it and paste it. Logo F3. So I'm going to give you a couple of keystrokes. You'll want to take a screenshot of this maybe, or you might want to take a picture of it. If you're using OneNote, then I would do a screenshot and I would throw it in my OneNote. That's a little plug for our OneNote session coming up. And as soon as I go onto a Zoom call like this, I have my OneNote on another screen and I'm putting screen captures in there and writing notes, no paper notebooks. So that's something that's an excellent one, excellent little plug for the OneNote session that's coming up with my colleague Connie in next month. Okay, so the two keys that you want to know about, well, they both use F3, Alt F3 and F3. Now, if you're on a laptop, you might need to use the function key. So if I'm on a laptop and I hit my F3 key right now, it's going to turn up the volume on my speaker. And I'm like, this doesn't work. Then I need to go function F3 because all of your F keys along the top on this screen print, no. But if you have a laptop and you look at it, you'll see that there are two functions. One that does something like this, and then one that turns up the volume or the brightness or something like that. So promise me today that if you're trying it and it's not working, you try it with the function key. So Alt F3 and F3. And I'll come back to those and show you how they work. I just did it with my logo. So I typed in what I'm going to call the abbreviation. I called it logo. What a great name for a logo. That is what we're going to refer to as an abbreviation, and then we're going to hit F3. Would it have worked if we went enter? Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. So that's why I love F3. Okay, so remember that. What else have I done it with? Um, Anybody on here from, doesn't matter, legal, legal. I do lots with law firms and they always have those signature lines, right? Like the buyer and the seller or, the owner and the buyer, whatever. So I went, um, signature F3. No, oh shoot, what did I call it? Table signature, I think. That's one thing that you should remember. You don't have to remember, but you should remember. So on what you called it, on the fourth character, it comes up and says, hey, I recognize this. If you want, you can press enter. What's the keystroke? F3. Look at that. It comes up, and I'm going to turn these guys off for a minute. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Actually, I'm going to control P and show you print preview. And every time I want to have seller and buyer show up, then I go TABL for table signature, F3. So table signature is what I decided to name it. You guys like that idea? It's just a table with some borders and lines. Love it. But what I'm trying to show you is that there's just about anything that you can put on this. Sometimes I need to put my signature on a document. JS, so Joanne Swensrud, SI, or is it SI? So JS signature. There's my signature. You guys liking this so far? And there's a couple more that I'll do. I'm going to do a control enter here to get a new page. And then I'm going to, of course, show you how I created all of these, but I kind of am doing it a little bit backwards so I can get you a little bit excited and tell you where we're going with this. This one is, let's say that I've decided to do a handout. Oh my gosh, do I have to go and open an old handout? Because I have 100 handouts, probably more, 500 handouts. Do I have to go and find one, file, save as? How many of you do this? File, save as. So you've got well, you can't really do margins here, but you've got all the the text and you've got, it's nice and laid out and everything. What I'm going to do with this one is so KIS, No, it's sooner. Cover. So C for cover, F3. Look at that. Look what that brought up. So all I would have to do there is just decide, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to call this auto text. I'm going to get rid of all that. I'm going to call it auto text or whatever, right? You see what I mean? It brought up stuff. It brought up a whole bunch of cool stuff, and it just sits there and lets me start to work with it. So it's more than just text, more than just text. And then the last one that I'll show you is if I'm in a document and I'm in my footer or my header, I want my standard footer, KISF. That's what I named it, KISS footer. I could continue typing it, F3. So it comes up with my footer. And this is quite a nice one because I've got the little copyright thing. I've got some tabs in there. I've got some borders and some shading and that's that. So wherever you want, you can put that. I mean, would need to work with that a little bit, but these are some examples of some auto texts. Are you guys interested? Yes? Okay. So I'm going to show you how I start working with it. So I've decided to bring up a document. I do I do sessions for seniors, and I came up with this 3-page document. Actually, there's even more. This is just a working document, and then I started just putting them right on my website. But this is just a document where I started collecting all of these websites. And what I want to do with some of these websites is I want to be able to go in and say, like if somebody says, hey, Joanne, can you send me all of those email websites? I don't want to have to go find it, copy it, go to where I want it to go and paste it. I don't want to do that. I want to handle it just like how we were talking about a few minutes ago. I want to be able to come up and say email websites, F3, boom, this section comes up. Maybe I want to do another one for social media. Maybe I want to do another one for, I don't know, you pick, sports, whatever. I have to fix that one. Training, whatever. So what I would do is I would select, okay? So you go to somewhere and you either select it or you type it. So I want everybody to think of something right now, because I really want you to try this later. Think of something that you would like to capture. So is it a signature block? Yours truly, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's your address. Maybe you're always typing in. And I also want you to think about Outlook. Think about Outlook as well, and we'll switch over to that in a couple minutes. So think about that. Um, I used to offer classes at a place in the on the southeast town side of Edmonton, and I was always saying, your class is on such and such a day, and here is the address. Bam! I would have loved to have just had an auto text for that. So please put in the chat what you're thinking. So this to me, this is something that I type all the time, and I want to be able to pull it in like I did the logo and the table. So I'm going to select it, and it's kind of important to select the enters as well. So see how I don't have the enter, right? And I'm hoping that all of us here are using this guy. If not, come and sign up for one of my classes because it's really, really helpful. I'm going to select these guys, and then I'm going to go Alt F3. Again, if you're trying Alt F3 and it's not working, then you might have to go Alt function F3. So we're hitting them not like at the same time, but hit your Alt key, or if you need function, Alt and function, keep it held down and hit F3. Here it wants to know the name, and this is the abbreviation. I don't mind training, but I usually will just put, I don't even use a space, websites, training websites, because I actually use the word training a lot, but this is why I like F3, because I can pull it out. No, I'll try to show you that in a bit. Gallery, we'll come into that in a minute. Category, you can create your own categories. I could actually have a category called websites. And when I show you the list of all of our auto texts later, you'll say, I would love to create some categories because look at how many I would have here. I have way too many. Saving it, if you have a template open right now, it'll save it inside the template. And then when you send that template to somebody, all of the auto texts are in there. Just looking online here. Yeah, I was talking about this to a couple of people just last week. And that was really important to them. They said, how do we share our auto texts? If you use the normal, that is on your computer. So for me, fantastic. If you're working with somebody else, you'll want to open a template. And then when you go into here, the name of that template will show up. And that's where they're stored. So it's like you get the best of both worlds there. You get them on your own computer, especially for those of you that are on a shared network. I know a lot of you are working in an office with somebody else. Save it in there. So Tammy, you and Janet create a template. So create a document, file, save as, template. Use a template, and that's where you'll go to save your stuff, and then you'll both have the things available to you. Okay. Then there's some other options here. You can play with those. Do you want it to come up in its own paragraph and stuff? So when I did logo, do you want it to go on its own paragraph? Probably. You wouldn't want it right behind the text. So you can play with those. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to just go Control N to create a new document. And I'm going to say websites, enter. And what did I call it? Um, email. I don't know. Email F3. Did I not call it email? I might have done this one already. Email websites. And this might be oh, I called it training. I called it training. Training. There we go. So it kind of reminds me. Train F3, and there we go. Now, one thing that you will notice is that it has brought the font with it. Is that good or bad? Because the initial font in this document was Aptos 12. And this has come in as Aptos 14. This one has come in as Century Gothic. So this one has retained the formatting. Good or bad? It depends. It depends what you're doing, right? If you said, oh, thank you for bringing all that text in. Now I don't have to type it. That's great. But if it's not in the right font, you can either use your format painter to kind of fix it, or hopefully you're using some of the headings, the heading styles. So you would be able to just select and say, hey, you guys are blah, blah, blah. Styles is a different topic. I'm not going to get into those. But the big thing about this is that you didn't have to go and find it somewhere. You open a document and you say, I want those training websites. You go training F3. You only need, actually, you only need enough characters to make it, sorry, you only need as many characters. What am I trying to say? So you've got this great, you're going to have this great big list, and we'll see them right away, of auto texts. And if I just go T, F3, okay, on the bottom left-hand corner, it says the specified text is not a unique building block name. So that means that I have two auto texts that start with a T. Okay, what about TR, F3? Look at that. TR, F3. So I must have at least one name with at least two with T. Maybe it's TE or TA, whatever. It's not TR, right? And I had a client, man, this was a long time ago. Doesn't matter because she's still actually using it. I ran into her. She's still using it. And she had this system where she had these conditions that she had to put in. It was a government office, and she would say she was doing a letter, Dear Mr. Smith, we have given approval to the following conditions. And she'd go 34 F3, boom, comes up with a whole bunch of stuff. Hits enter, and then she'll type, 47 F3, and it comes up and grabs clause number 47. So I want you really to think about that. Think about how you can use this, right? Like, is it a numbering system? Is it something like some of you do schedules and you do like locations? Maybe you have various different locations. EDM for Edmonton, EDM F3, for Calgary, F3, and your Calgary location comes up. Different departments, OAG, F3, right? Try to think about those. I love to get the ideas flowing now while you're in the middle of it here. Any questions or comments about that so far? Using my nice little, I got a new mug here, a new cup here yesterday, so I'm happy to use it. I hope it's not too loud with my ice in it. Okay, good. Um, so what happens? What are some of the things that you might see wrong with this or a problem with this? What if you can't remember what you named it? What if you just get so many of them you just can't remember what you named it? So here's a spot where it's really, really hidden. Insert, quick parts, building blocks organizer. Take a screenshot of that. Insert, quick parts, building blocks organizer. And if you think that Autotext is your new fun project, I want you to go in there and I want you to right click on it and I want you to go add to quick access toolbar. Then you never have to go insert quick parts building blocks organizer again. You'll have it on your toolbar. So there it is in the top left. There it is. You don't have to worry about it. Most of the time we're sitting in home and we're bolding stuff and everything. So if we go building blocks organizer, wow, this is a busy screen. It has the name and it's not really in alphabetical order. It's kind of in alphabetical order. It's not really. If I scroll down here enough, I'm going to be able to find table signature. Remember that one? And I picked way down, of course, here, table signature. That's that one that has those signatures. If I decided that's a silly name, I can go edit properties and I can change the name of it. Maybe I want to call it signature table or something like that instead. If I decide I want to create those categories I was talking about, I can do that. So I can change things from here. I'm just going to cancel that. What else did I have? I had JS, Joanne Spencer's sign, JS sign. There it is there. And if I said, oh, that's what I named it. Oh, okay. I can simply go insert here. That's a lot longer of of a job than just JS F3, right? So it really is worthwhile if you try to remember what the names are, but you're not completely hooped if you can't remember them all the time. Now yours might not be sorted by name. I just clicked on name, so that's sorted by name. So if you're following along, you can try that too. What are all these other things? Yeah, we'll talk about those. Where's that cover one? Where's those KISs? KIS cover, that looked familiar, didn't it? And KIS footer. That one you can see it a little bit at the bottom. Now I want you to notice something else about those two. What was the gallery? So JS sign, the gallery was Autotext. That's kind of what we were talking about today. But look at the gallery for this one as cover pages, and the gallery for the KISS footer is footers. And then we see page numbers and we see text boxes and we see tables and we see headers. We see a whole bunch of other things like what the heck is all that stuff? Would you guys like to know about that? Okay. So I want you to go up to insert and I want us to go table, insert table. How many of you have done this before? Where you're creating a table, right? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, look down at the bottom. You have quick tables. Guess what? These are some of the things that we saw in that last screen. There's an auto text called Calendar 1 and Calendar 2 and Tabular List and with subheadings. There's not too many of them. Okay, Client Table. I created that one. I'd forgotten about that. I forgot that one. Organize and delete. That'll take us to the same spot. client table. If you're doing this a lot, create one. That's kind of like that signature one, but I didn't put the signature one in there. I'm going to do that again. Table, quick tables. Oh, this one looks kind of neat. This subheading, this one here with subheadings. Oh, that looks kind of neat. Wow, it might have taken me a little while to come up with that color scheme, right? And then obviously you just go in and you select your stuff and delete their stuff and put your own stuff in or whatever. Usually for something like this, I wouldn't put all of that in. I would just put in a little bit of stuff. So what was that one called? Insert table. That one was called with subheads too. Let's see if we can find it in there. So that would be under the W's. Of course, everything's at the bottom. Make that a little bit bigger with subheads too. Look at that. That's what it's talking about. Isn't that neat? So that's what makes it appear under table, is because when we created that, we didn't create that. Some of these were done already. What was that one called? Client. When I created that client one, I must have done that in a different episode here, and I put it in the tables. I put it in the tables. I'm going to delete that for now. I'll show you. Yeah. So if you said, well, I'm going to create one, and I don't like orange table layout. Maybe table design. I'm going to make it blue, and it doesn't have the first column thing going on. And maybe I'm going to add another one here, insert to the right, and I'm going to call it contact name. Oh, I have that on there already, email. Okay, and I can go in and I can make these bigger and smaller and stuff like that. And I'm really, really happy with my table. I can select it. Okay, big test. Big test. What do I do? How do I create that? How do I create that in and put it in there? I gave you two keystrokes. Alt F3, yay! You select it, you go Alt F3. Remember, you might have to go Alt Function F3, and it wants a name. Please don't just go with whatever it wants here. Where's it getting the name from? From the first thing that I had typed in here. So what would be a good one? I think I had called this client table before. You can call it that again, whatever. I don't usually put spaces in it. And the reason for that is if I use the word client and I hit enter, I don't want this thing coming up. I only want it to come up when I want it to come up. And then here's where I'm going to go. Tables. Category, that's fine, blah, blah, blah. Good enough. So I've just captured it. Let me go to a different document here. I'm going to go client. See, I just do 4 letters, F3, and there it is. Beautiful. If I forgot what I named it, I could either go to my big list, or if I remembered when I created it, there it is. Then I can go into the table. So by putting that in there, it allows you for a little bit easier way to find it, doesn't it? Other ones, and we probably won't have time to go through them all. Insert cover page. Did you even know that you had insert cover page? There are some beautiful little cover pages there. And guess what's right? Where did it go? Where did it go? Right there. Kiss cover. Do you think that comes with Microsoft Word? No. So that one is mine. And so what did I do when I created that one? I created it. I selected it all. A little bit tricky with all those text boxes and things. I went Alt F3. I gave it a name. Oh, let me just back up here. Let's say that I want to move this up. I just have a change to make to it. I want to move it up a bit. It's way too big. I actually don't really like using text boxes, but for a cover page, it's actually not too bad. only for cover pages. So, and this is a little code for the current month. So then when I, I shouldn't be telling you guys this. This is, when I print these things off for people, then it's like I want them to know that I went in and I updated it. No, I didn't. I just put a code in to put that in there. So there it is. I selected and I just really want to update it, right? I already have one called Kiss Cover. I just want to update it. How do I update it? I update it the same way as I created it. So Alt F3, select it, and you go Alt F3. Now, this is the tricky part. If you name it exactly the same thing, then it's going to come up and say, would you like to overwrite that? Do you want to redefine the auto text entry, I think? So you probably wouldn't want one of each. You probably wouldn't want one where my name of my company was down at the bottom and the fixed version. You probably wouldn't want both. So we do have to be a little bit familiar with what we name these things. So I'm going to try. I wish it would let me pick from a list here, but it doesn't. Kiss cover? I think that's what it was. The gallery, cover pages. I'm going to click OK. Yay! Do you want to redefine the building block entry? So in other words, it found Kiss cover in the cover page gallery. So I know that I only have one. So if I go Control N and then I go Kiss cover F3, there we go. It's not down at the bottom anymore. Remember how it was way down at the bottom? That one doesn't exist anymore. And know that it doesn't go back and change anything you've already done. It's not going to do that. There's no kind of linking involved, which is a good thing. Well, I think it's a good thing. If people are like, "Oh man, I wish it would have fixed all of them." Well, should have could have grabbed it all, at the beginning. So that's pretty cool. So any of those that you can remember what you named them. There's a few more. Most of them are under insert. Table we did. Where's the other ones? Headers. All of those are auto texts. Footers. Those are auto texts. And guess what's in there? Kiss footer. Because when I did that one, I selected it. I went Alt F3. I gave it a name. And then I told it to appear in the footer gallery. Page numbers. All of these. There's a ton of these ones. I usually just go current position. That's my go-to. I don't use any of the top or bottom ones. So if I found something that I really liked, then I would like a page number that I really liked. I'd put it in there. But I usually just use plain number just to slot it in there. Again, that's another one. Text box. These are kind of cool. Have you ever looked in here? These are really good for really making your document pop. This is probably not a good spot to put that in. Nice blank. There we go. Insert, where was I? Text box. Text box. Look at that. That's kind of pretty, actually. Depends if you're printing on your home computer, that's a lot of ink. But they're all there. They're all there. So you've got those. What else did we see when we were in here? We had our headers and our footers and our text boxes and our page number, watermarks. Those are some as well. And table of contents, yeah. See, they're all hidden all over. Bibliographies, equations, they're just all over the place. And we won't go into all of these, but if you have some questions about any of these, maybe if there's time at the end, we can go through them. I do want to show you a couple things about Outlook as well. But this is the screen that you can go into and do your deleting or your insert if you forget what you named it or you're just scrolling around. And all of these headings are sortable. So these galleries, this is how I normally have this sorted. So if it says auto text is the gallery, those are the ones that I created. So just kind of your random stuff. So like my logo, there's my logo. It will create one with your name. There's one, I did not create one called Joanne. I'm not that lazy to type Joanne and get Joanne, right? These some of these come with when you first go on to Microsoft Office, it'll come up, it'll create some of these for you. So, and some of you are like, hey, how come it knows my company name? Yeah, some of them will come up when you very first time you open up one of your one of your Microsoft Office programs. There's my signature. So those are all the auto texts. Oh, there's all of your cover pages all together. There's all your equations and footers and headers and page numbers, more page numbers, lots of them. So you can work with them maybe a little bit easier. There's all your tables, text boxes. Give you one more idea for this, and it was years ago I worked at a law firm, and there was a lawyer who did wills, and they had an auto text for each clause. So when they went to build a will, they had a template and they would look and they would say, okay, well, this is a young husband and wife and they have children. So they would go children. I think it was actually called minors, F3. And this great big blurb about minors came up that something about they get their share at 21 years old or something like that. And then there would be another one for guardians, right? So a guardian F3 and it would be like we represent, you know, Harold and Sue to be guardians for our children, right? But all the meat was already there, right? It was already there. It just brings it all in like a meteor shower, right? Um, Grandparents. I wish to leave all my, or grandchildren probably. Um, I wish to leave blah, blah, blah for grandchildren. Grandchildren, F3, right? And you can put these things on your toolbar if you go in here. If you start using these a lot, you're going to go in here and you're just going to go crazy with this stuff. You're going to go in here and you're going to, I think it said all there. You usually have to give them in all commands. I'm going to click on one of them and go auto AU. So auto text. Is that the one? I think that's the one. Auto text. Let's see what happens there. Auto text. Where did it go? Maybe I didn't put it on there. Oh, it might have just been the building blocks organizer. Anyway, you can go in and you can put your auto texts on there and you can pick them from a list. Yeah, it must not have put that on there. Don't know what happened. And one of the other things that you can do, let's try that again. Auto text add. Okay, there it is. Okay. Okay, that time it worked. So there's your auto texts. So this gives a list. Now, auto text is just the ones that we did. It's not your other ones. So like I said, there's my logo. Hit enter. Oh, there's my signature, right? So auto text is just the ones that we did. So it's like kind of personal ones. It doesn't mean that you can't share these. This is just like typing it in, logo F3. It just gets it from here instead. The building blocks organizer is your big one. So this would be how you would get at some of the other ones. This is your big dog here. Okay. The other thing that you might be interested in is if you go file print, this is a little secret spot. File print. Here, print all pages. Look what we see in here. List of items in your auto text gallery. And that is how you can print them. I wish it did a print preview, but it doesn't. I could probably change this to a PDF. Where's my Microsoft print to PDF? And it could probably show you what that does. But that would be a good idea. auto texts. I don't really want to put it in there, but I will. Senior courses. And I'll have to bring it up to show you what it shows you like. Well, I'll do that after if I have some time. Um, but that's kind of nice if you just finished doing it, and I'll just bring it up now. It's kind of nice if you've just finished updating a whole bunch of stuff and you want to tell your group. So I just opened that PDF up. So these are all the ones that are on my system. So I have a Joanne and a Joanne and a J and a J. Oh, I have logo, and that's what it brings up. Oh, I have JS sign, and that's what it brings up. Oh, I have table signature, and that's what it brings up. I have one called training websites, and that's what it brings up. And and then if I have any other ones in any other templates, then they'll show up here. So that's kind of a neat thing too that you can do, is that you can have a list of it. Some people have this in a binder or stuck to their, shelf so that you can just grab it. But honestly, if you click on the little guys up here, then that might be a little bit quicker. Any questions with any of that stuff? Is it good stuff, you guys? Anybody learning anything? Quiet group today. Oh, okay. Um, Outlook. So we know the idea of this. We know that we just type something in, um, and we select it, and we Alt F3. We give it a name, and then we click OK. And then to call it up, we type the name of it or the abbreviation, and we hit F3. Okay, you need to know that because in Outlook, here I am in a brand new Outlook one. We need to be in the body of the email in order to use Outlook. And I'll kind of introduce this to you the same way as I did when we were in Word. I'll show you the ones that I have set up. And I did this right. Been doing this for the last month. Hi, I don't know, who am I going to pick on? Um, Jackie. Jackie was the first one online today. Um, Thanks for coming to the session today. If you want to see any other others, please check out our events page. Okay. I don't know if you saw it there. Enter. What is that? So what would you guys do right now? You'd go over to the internet, you'd go up and you'd find the website. I just happened to be on it. How that doesn't happen too often. But what I've done, and then you'd copy it and then you'd paste it. I did that once. And then guess what? EVEN F3. So I have a few of them in here, right? I have a few of them in here. Another one that I have is I meet on Zoom with people. So it's like, let's meet on Zoom, Zoom F3. No, I must have called it something else. MOS Zoom. It's for my Microsoft Office testing. There you go. You can call it whatever you want. Ideas for Outlook. Ideas for Outlook. And I'm gonna think about that one for a minute, the question you put in the chat. MOS blurb. Look at this one. F3. because we do certification exams. So every time somebody signs up for to get their certification, I want to tell them all this stuff. So I typed it in one time. I selected it. I went Alt F3 and I captured it. Isn't that neat? Word and Outlook, it's the same concept, but I think that there's quite a bit of different types of things that you would put in here. Would you ever do a logo in here? I don't think so. But this one's mostly about text. Any, do you ever get any in your Outlook, in your email, do you get any inquiries about the same types of things? People are, asking about Excel courses all the time. Excel, I don't think I have one in there. I've always wanted to do that. Excel, boom, and hit F3. Thank you for your interest in our Excel courses. We have three courses. Excel level 1 is 6 hours. Excel beyond the basics, blah, 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 blah. Right? So I want you to think about that. Think about how you could use that. Now, I mentioned it's a little bit trickier in here. I'm just going to do Control A, um, and I'm gonna delete that. And well, if you're thinking about, I didn't think about this one. Hang on a minute. Do 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 do. Drag this over here. I'm just going to bring up an email that I sent, and it's going to be one that that I'm going to hit reply here on it. So it doesn't matter if it's one that you sent or that if you didn't send it. Get rid of the people's names. Okay, so I already sent it. And what I'm getting at is that we have to be able to, when you're doing an auto text in here in Outlook, you need to have you need to be kind of in the contents of the email. So, okay. So here's one that I had already sent, and I was asking people if they wanted to come to it, right? And some of you might have gotten some of these. So this is what I needed to do. I needed to reply or type. You can't get at it like I couldn't just bring up my sent email and select it. You have to be in this kind of typing mode. So I selected it, and what am I going to hit? Same thing, Alt F3. Alt F3. It wants to call it, hey, any of. That's a silly name. Maybe I call it Free Fridays, right? Free Fridays. And you have the same kinds of things here, although most of them don't apply. I'm gonna click OK. So now I'd be able to bring up somebody else's email and I'd hit reply or a brand new email and I would go free F3. There you go. There it is. So as long as you remember those keystrokes, Alt F3 to create it and F3 to bring it up, you're good. And the reason I was saying it's a little bit trickier because insert quick parts, there is no building blocks, right? That was in Word, it was building blocks organizer, I think. All it says is auto text. So there's my events one. Oh, there's my Free Fridays one. What other ones do I have in here? Oh, YouTube, right. Check out my YouTube channel. So I type YouTube channel and my thing comes up. There's my blurb. I don't have a lot in here. I don't really need a lot. There's the events one. If I right click on any of them, I can say organize and delete. And guess what? There's that box. Now, it might be somewhere that you can put on your toolbar or something. I'm thinking that in here in Outlook, maybe you don't use it as much, but there's the same type of idea. I have a closing. If you have any questions, please let me know. How many of you put that on the end of an email? I do all the time. There's my Free Fridays. Oh, I want to rename that. I want to delete it, whatever you want to do. Okay. Oh, you caught me. It's our way of sneaking in tips on those programs because hardly anybody requests training on them. I know nobody ever requests training on Word, but or Outlook. Yeah. So how do we do that? Insert, quick parts, find it, right click on any of them, organize and delete. So you can probably find organize and delete in your thing if you wanted to. Okay, so that is it. Anybody have any really cool ones in Outlook that you'd like to share? Because if you're using it, then that might mean that other people are, which would be so awesome. So Anne says, I'm wondering if my company has closed down the opportunity to do quick parts as I keep getting the specified text is not valid. What are you selecting and then hitting F3? Is it text or is it a graphic or sometimes when people do this and they're hitting Alt F3, they don't have anything selected. So take a good look to see what you have selected. It didn't come up with an error when I didn't have anything selected, but it doesn't work. So if you're just sitting there in the middle of nowhere, Alt F3, no, it doesn't do anything. So it's not liking something. I've tried different things. Text. Perhaps try it on a different computer. Maybe make sure your document's not locked. Go into a brand new document and try it. Maybe some of these things you've already tried already. See if it's not working for other people, then probably maybe your IT has locked it down. It is a little bit problematic in terms of, okay, I'm getting a new computer. How do I move my stuff over? It is these are stored in your normal .dot file, and sometimes sometimes that file is not on the network. Uh, if it's on your hard drive, then they say no, you're not allowed to store things on your hard drive because then it's not backed up, that kind of thing. So there's a possibility that it's kind of got read-only status. Uh, you could try it with creating a template, like just save as, and when you do a save as, save it as a template, and then try it in there. So save as template, um, word template, and just try it in there. Mike is an IT guy, so if he if you're looking for some IT help, Mike might be able to help. Any other questions? Or anybody want me to redo anything on there? I'd love to hear some ideas for some of them. How many of you knew or didn't know that these were already in here? And I say auto texts are actually building blocks. The auto texts are the one that we create. I'm going to take a quick look at autocorrect because it's actually pretty cool as well. And so this would be kind of simpler. It's simpler to use. That was the idea about TEH space corrects it to the. It also corrected the very first capital, right? I was being lazy and did a small t, and it corrected that as well. There are some other ones. We mentioned days of the week, uh, um, month names. There are some other ones that will just kind of come out of nowhere. Yours truly, maybe it doesn't come out anymore. It used to. Maybe I shut it off. And this is really, autocorrect is really um, buried in there. Um, think of a word that you misspell a lot. So hospital was one that I used to go hopsital all the time. And now there's actually an auto text in there that does that. Think about words with accents on them. Pierre, Jackie with the Is it the U? Those kinds of things. Anything like that. I'm going to take you in File, Options, Proofing, Autocorrect. File, Options, Proofing, Autocorrect. And there's other things on here that you might consider as well when you're spell checking. Like this should be off. Do you actually want it to ignore words in uppercase when you're spell checking? What if you spelled a heading wrong? I still want it to check it, so I don't like that option being on. Anyway, autocorrect options. This list down here, it's a huge list. You would find the Hopsital in there. Applications applied, right? They're like, were they looking over my shoulder when they created this list? It's huge. But what we can do is we can put our own in there. So we could put in maybe JHS, replace with Joanne H. Swensrud, and I hit add, and okay, and okay. And so now if I'm somewhere and I just go JHS, F3? No. F3 is for auto texts. So this is autocorrect. And all I have to do is end the word somehow. So space, space. Isn't that working? Is it case sensitive today? Yes, it's case sensitive. So I shouldn't have typed it in capital letters. I have to end the word somehow. JHS enter, JHS period, question mark, whatever. Okay, so those are auto corrects. And those are in your file and your options and your proofing and your autocorrect options. If you're going to use this a lot, add it to your toolbar. And there they all are there. There's some neat ones there. Bracket C bracket will give you the copyright symbol and anything that you have selected, actually. Let me show you this one last thing. We've got 3 minutes left here, unless there's questions. I'm going to go and grab, let's say here, I'm going to go insert symbol and I'm going to grab the star. You can go more symbols and go off and find them if you want, but just because we're running short of time, you know what? Maybe I'm going to go star, 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 star. I want 3 stars. So select that star, double click it, copy, paste, yeah, paste. Oh boy. Select, I'm going to use shift arrow, copy, paste, paste. Boy, I sure want to automate that. I'm going to select it. Now you could do an Alt F3. You could. And I'm not going to select that enter because I don't want it. Don't want it. I'm going to do the shift again and backwards. I'm going to select it. Again, you could do that, an Alt F3. I'm going to go File, Options. These ones are harder to move from computer to computer. But so there we go. Look at what's in the side. 3 stars. I'm going to call it 3 stars. 3 stars. I'm going to add it. So now whenever I type 3 stars, like 3 stars space, it's going to come up with 3 stars. 3 stars. Why isn't it working today? 3 stars. Stars. Because I keep messing up how I type it. 3 stars. Enter. Oh, maybe it doesn't like it because it's in a text box. Silly text box. 3 stars. Stars! My goodness. Why isn't it working? Is that not what I called it, you guys? Options. Proofing. Autocorrect. I thought I called it that. 3. 3 stars. Why doesn't it work? I don't know why it's not working. Oh, I'm still not maybe in a, yeah, I am. 3. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't like the 3. I thought it did. 3 stars. space. I don't know why that one's not working, but you saw the JHS worked and the other ones worked. Hospital worked. And I think I have one in there for EA Edmonton, Alberta. No, I don't. I must have taken them out. I try to clean them all out at the end, but I'll have to figure out why that 3 stars wasn't working. Maybe it doesn't like that it starts with a number. I don't know that I've ever tried it with a number. But anyway, you can select things, bring them in with your symbol and then put something on them. Yeah, none of the other ones start with that. Stars. Stars. I'm just going to call it stars instead. Stars. There we go. So it must not like, isn't that interesting how it let me create that, but it didn't let me use it. I hate that. F3, no, no, no. So know the difference between F3. That's your auto text, and then your autocorrect is just a little bit quicker. But you can't get a list of them, and you can't share them, and stuff like that. If I have a brand name that is always being autocorrected, I can remove it. Yes, yes. Some people remove these things. Um, they just don't like it. It's like it's spelled incorrectly, or every time if it's something like stars, for example, every time I say, "Oh, I'm going to give you 5 stars." Oh, geez, right? If you want to change the name of it, if you created it or somebody else created it, then absolutely you can go in and delete them. Yeah, and there's a whole big list of them. So some of them you didn't even create. Most of them you didn't create. Okay. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Tammy. They're probably all gone. Janet. Thank you, guys. I hope to see you next week for Outlook. Please come and see. There's lots of things that you don't know what you don't know. I just learned something. You can't name an autocorrect with a number at the beginning, I don't think. Um, watch it on YouTube later if you want. Bye, Cynthia. Bye, Anne. And I'm creating auto text monsters. Okay, Ronnie. I still don't know who Free Fridays is. Tell me who that is. Robin, thank you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mike, for being my co-host and letting people in on this. I thought I deleted that guy. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. You learned some things?
Yeah, I've never played with that before. It's quite cool.
Shirley, I didn't see you come in. Thank you for coming. Yeah, auto text is pretty cool. Yeah, it's very, very cool. Yeah.
And it does make me think there's a ton of things in Word I just don't know about.
Yeah, very few people um, take word training or request it because I mean how and PowerPoint's another one because how difficult is it? You just open up and you type and you center and you bold and stuff, but when it comes to doing any kind of uh, playing around with headers and footers and those kinds of things, yeah, I have a 10-hour course on that. So on those kinds of things. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping.
well, I just don't use Word enough. So it's things I did got. I had like a header and a footer figured out, but it's been so long I don't remember how I did it.
Right, and that's the thing, right? That's good for us because we get a lot of people come in. Well, we're working on a big policy manual or something like that, and we come in and we teach them how to do it, and then 2 years later they have to update it, and they're like, "Oh, I can't remember." I'm like, "Yee." Come, we can come and help again. Yeah,
A good refresher for
it
sure.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
save a ton of time.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Thank you. That was great.
Yeah, good,
If
good.
next Friday, you'll see me here again.
Yay.